What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about Slaughter Day.
And the first one up is the new Visual Vengeance title, and this is the fifth in that line. And I've been really digging what they've been doing, but this one is Slaughter Day.
Hey, all. So I'm going to talk about the movie Slaughter Day from 1991.
Today I'm taking a small break from my Halloween content to bring you a review for the Blu-ray release of Slaughter Day from Visual Vengeance.
Today we are joined by two brothers, Brent and Blake Cousins, who are the producers, writers, editors, directors, pretty much full studio behind Slaughter Day, the 1991 shot-on-video film.
You made this movie 31 years ago, and now it's coming out on Blu-ray.
Crazy, isn't it? Like, if you told us 31 years ago that, hey guys, your movie's not going to be seen by the masses until 31 years from now, is that okay with you guys?
Are you guys excited about this?
I guess we would have been happy because the nostalgia rocks, man. This is crazy.
They would have told us that they're going to be making action figures off our villain, John Jones.
Awesome.
Right there.
So where are we working today anyway?
An old abandoned cabin needs a lot of work done to it.
Did you see Jones disappear like that, man?
Freeze, you stupid hippie!
Dang!
You will die by the wrath of the Necronomicon.
Don't let me go!
No beer, no babes, we're hurting now.
This can't be happening, man!
Oh, I have real attitude problem.
This guy's nuts! Kill the enemy.
Let's get out of here.
Awesome.
Right there, Slaughter Day. We got John Jones in there, custom made by Visual Vengeance and Rob at Wild Eye. That's pretty sick.
We're not going to open up the box, but actually, if you took them out, the arm of the action figure would pop off, just like the movie Slaughter Day. It's
Okay.
crazy.
Oh, damn. That's amazing.
I know.
That's
man.
amazing. So on top of that, what inspired both of you to just go ahead and create this idea?
Basically, this is the story of two construction workers who show up to a spooky, isolated cabin to find one of their co-workers named Jones has been demonically possessed by an air filtration mask that is powered by the Necronomicon. It's a classic tale. We've heard it a million times, right? But basically, this is a shot-on-video movie. It's one of the most shot-on-video movies I've ever seen. This is from 1991 from the Cousins brothers.
Oh, we're so happy to have you here. And just want to start off by saying big fans of Slaughter Day. As we were talking about, before we got started recording, I love that Visual Vengeance is bringing a lot of attention to shot-on-video horror. I look at them as kind of the criterion of shot-on-video at this point, trying to bring us the best and the brightest. But I want to kind of have you all. So first, congratulations that this is now getting some well-deserved attention. But I want to flash back, 31 some odd years ago, and you all created Slaughter Day initially in 4 different segments, and then you went back and later decided, hey, let's remake this. What was the inspiration for wanting to go back to something and retry your hand at it?
It's interesting because when we first started our Slaughter Day concept, we just started out with our friends in our backyard, said, hey, let's start making movies. And it was a way to start growing our talent, but we had a lot of learning to do. So we started with Slaughter Day 1, 2, 3, and 4. Every year we're progressing, making these short films. And it was interesting when our school teacher, who opened up the video class in our school, which we pretty much taught, we just suggested to our teacher we should get a video class going. He actually entered our short film without even telling us into this great video review shoot-off out of New York, the Video Review magazine. And our teacher called us up and said, "Hey guys, you just won the honorable mention John Carpenter Award." We're going, "Wait, what's going on here?" He says, "You guys are in the Video Review magazine. They did an article on you." We're like, "What?" So that kind of inspired us that there might be something to this Slaughter Day. So, you know, with minimal equipment and just a lot of time on our hands here in the Big Island of Hawaii, we're like, well, let's make a movie, and why not just reboot these small short films into one, I guess, epic, bloody spectacle of Slaughter Day.
That's right. It's another SOV from Visual Vengeance. Let's check it out. We're talking about Slaughter Day, which is a movie that was made by some boys out in Hawaii back in 1991. It is by the Cousin brothers, Brent and of course Blake Cousins, who were Hawaii residents and moved to California and then came back to go make some more movies. They used to make a lot of really like low budget sort of homemade movies, and they even entered into a contest where they won this John Carpenter's Award. So they decided to continue that effort and put together a full feature-length movie called Slaughter Day. They had done part 2, 3, 4, and some other stuff, and said, finally, now's the time to do it. So Visual Vengeance picked it up, and they actually are putting it out on one of their newest releases here.
We would never have believed it. And now what Visual Vengeance is what they do in their company, getting these SOVs out to the public with great packaging and getting people together to discuss and talk about these movies that were basically needles in a haystack. These basically treasure hunts for people to go out there and find these obscurity of films. So shoot, man, we're super pumped.
Yeah, I think you guys are probably about my age, so having an action figure from your movies is pretty awesome, I think.
Hell yeah, man, it's crazy. So
yeah, I was just like, honestly, really enjoyed the movie. I don't want to say like honestly, but I really enjoyed the movie, not just because you guys are here. And I think it's a good time to put it out because like retro stuff is in. People like that. People like nostalgia, and people like to make stuff today that looks like it was shot on video. But this really
True. That's what I've been hearing.
So this is backyard SOV stuff here, made in Hawaii. It's essentially kind of an Evil Dead riff, but they're so young. They got to be in their like late teens, and it has a lot of heart. Now, heart goes a long way, but it doesn't save every low budget backyard movie, right? But if you compare it to like Nigel the Killer or whatever that was, one from '94, which is a backyard kind of do-it-yourself SOV, or The Hidden, or even Garden Tool Massacre, where these are made by like teenagers. This is vastly superior to any of those movies, if you ask me. It's a lot more fun, and it's kind of non-stop action. The dialogue is hilarious at times. It's like two young guys screaming and just being absolutely ridiculous. And it does have that feel that younger people acting in much older positions and jobs than they would have, and that kind of deal, But there's a lot of real stuff to really like here. So the opening is two guys that run a construction business. They go to the job site, and somebody named John Jones, not to be confused with the famous MMA fighter, is kind of gone crazy, and he's attacking another person. It turns out he has actually used the Necronomicon.
Well, we've always wanted to, ever since Star Wars came out, George Lucas And by the way, we did win a George Lucas Award for a fan film we made in 2007, just to get that out of the way. But
oh, nice.
So that was a dream. That was a dream come true as well. So we had to like figure everything out ourselves, how to edit on VHS to VHS.
We're lucky mom and dad got us a video camera. That's kind of what we've always wanted. And, you know, they struggled in life, but they put out the money to buy us a pretty decent video camera at the time. And we never looked back. A camera's been in our lives all the way through. And thanks to mom and dad for giving us that opportunity to get out there and practice what we really wanted to do and love it. So every time we're out there in the field making films is basically, that's where we want to be.
You talk about the editing stuff because, you know, today, if I know a lot of people who make independent films and they didn't go to film school, but you can look on YouTube and learn how to do certain things, and you can get a camera easily, and you can get programs, you can edit stuff. But like, you know, back then you didn't have the internet. So how did you even go about like, we're going to make this and edit it? Like, how long of a process was that?
So we had to have this learning curve. And then there's this movie, Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 that came out. We're like, wow, these guys are doing something special here. So we had to like develop our own camera equipment, our own sliding cam, our own dollies, our own boom crane systems, and have to finagle a way to get these shots to emulate what these incredible directors were doing. So,
and we always liked magic too at the same time growing up. So these movies kind of allowed us to even throw in kind of a magic and practical effects into the film to get some of these one-time shots of amputations, breaking legs and breaking arms, or
beheading. Yeah. It's just,
or rip a person's body in half in real time in one shot. So we're creating these illusions.
Yeah, because it has to be shot on camera. It can't be, you know, digitally edited in later.
You might be wondering to yourself, what the hell is this movie, Slaughter Day, Alex? Well, basically, Slaughter Day is about a group of guys, two guys in particular, who are construction workers, and they are working on a site when one of their workers is possessed and starts killing everybody. In fact, he uses the Necronomicon, an H.R. Giger Necronomicon, which is one of the original ones in the actual books that they've put out. Those books are worth between $400 and like $3,000 now. No joke. But they use that one as their Necronomicon, and they actually do some pretty cool stuff with it.
Which the subtitles call it microeconomic, which I found hilarious. That's what the subtitles refer to the Necronomicon. So whoever did those had no idea, or if it's like this kind of auto-generated subtitle, but it's absolutely hilarious. So every time they say Necronomicon, it says microeconomic, which I was like, oh, we're getting political in here. I love that. But so like essentially after that, it's just a big run chase through. It's like this evil gas mask that gets put on, and it turns people into like John Jones, kind of, you know, like work for the Necronomicon and all this kind of stuff. He's basically growling and doing this ridiculously deep voice. A lot of these kind of, the actors are so young, but they're definitely putting on like a, you know, machismo vibe and stuff like that, which is fun. And I have to give the movie props for these special effects. Although they are rough around the edges, they're the perfect kind of backyard effects you would want. And they're very much done with love and a lot of hard work involved. People getting sucked through the floor, broken in half, limbs being chopped off, blood spraying everywhere. If you're gonna do a no-budget movie like, you know, backyard movie with gore, this is the kind of thing you should make. And, you know, it's obviously in line with Evil Dead 2. Heavy inspiration to that. Of course, it's not as good as Evil Dead 2, but definitely the camera work and the fight scenes are definitely from that, you know, that Michigan school of, you know, Raimi's boys.
And I'll start off by just saying the production value here is very low. This is a VHS rip, standard definition, 4:3 aspect ratio. So basically, production value wise, this is almost the equivalent of some high school kids shooting a film in their backyard. The trade-off is how ambitious and batshit insane this movie gets. There are tons of practical effects All of them are really impressive, and there are a lot of like fight scenes that show that these guys had no sense of self-preservation. There are scenes where they're fighting in the back of a moving truck. There's one scene where a guy's hanging off of a railing that is very high off the ground. It actually reminds me a lot of Deadbeat at Dawn for that reason. Deadbeat at Dawn has a much higher production value, obviously, but these guys did some crazy stuff for this movie.
Visual Vengeance may be the new kid on the boutique Blu-ray distribution block, but they've come out the gate swinging with one SOV haymaker after another. One of the more obscure and ambitious SOV titles that they've released to date is Slaughter Day. Slaughter Day was the brainchild of brothers Blake and Brent Cousins. Inspired by Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, the two set out to create their own DIY horror film, chock full of gory special effects and some absolutely insane, and most likely highly illegal, action sequences. And you have to give the brothers credit. What they're able to do here with what was clearly a micro budget is impressive.
We're building all sorts of new gear and ways to capture these angles that pretty much weren't being done in the field of this SOV kind of stuff. I think we're kind of the first ones to kind of break the bounds of creating these camera movements that had more of a cinematic feel rather than it just being shot on video like just a running hose of water. We wanted to like create every shot that has a meaning to it, that it kind of has this film action look to it. And that was kind of what we've always been trying to strive at, trying to copy the best directors on the planet and create our own style around it.
So we pitched our friends. We're like, hey, look, there's this idea. Let's, some of them worked on our other short films. We said, let's just get together and make this Slaughter Day, the movie, the feature film. And it's crazy. It took us about a year to make, to get everybody every afternoon, every weekend to shoot it. But 30 years later, it's finally going to get to be seen. It's quite amazing.
Had it not been for Visual Vengeance to put this out, because this movie is a fucking blast. Welcome, Blake and Brent Cousins.
Good to be with you, Ivan. Hey, thanks for having us on. Appreciate it. It's been a long time since we made Slaughter Day, and it's kind of interesting that it's being able to be seen for the first time in almost 31 years. So it's incredible.
That's exactly how old I am too. So hopefully not to make you feel old, but I just thought it was interesting.
That's amazing. That's great. The new young audience is appreciating the OG.
How do you guys stay so in shape and so handsome?
I got an answer for that. I got to thank Mom and Dad for that one. Push-ups.
And handsome.
Fighting off demons every day, drinking Kool-Aid for blood.
I have a soft spot for movies that definitely have their influences and their hearts on their sleeve, and Slaughter Day certainly has that. It's no secret that this is very heavily influenced by Evil Dead. I'm sure everyone was at a certain point after they'd seen that for the first time. And beyond that, were there any other influences that you guys had maybe while writing the film or on the set where you figured we have to have this in our movie?
Yeah, I would kind of say I like the wide angle lens, and there's a movie that came out during those times when we're filming Slaughter Day, El Mariachi by Robert Rodriguez as well. Had these kind of like nice, fast camera shots with the wide angle so you could capture everything and do these little subtle movements on there where you really don't need tracking because the wide angle gives us like smooth camera action. So that was incorporated a lot, this Robert Rodriguez, Sam Raimi techniques throughout the film. We try to emulate what we're looking at growing up as kids, and those are great examples of films to look at and to kind of like create your own style behind it.
Yeah, when we're, James Cameron comes to mind, Aliens, when that came out, we didn't even realize that was a sequel to Alien. And we realized when we're in the theater, we're like, oh my God, this is that movie we saw in the 70s. Are you sure we're ready for this? Because that last one scared the shit out of us. And then when we got out of the theater after we watched Aliens, we're like, yeah, we made it through. We survived it, and we're not afraid of these scary movies, but the action and the powerhouse, the way James Cameron presented it, we took all these aspects of all these directors, Sam Raimi, including Evil Dead, and all the stunt work that Bruce Campbell was doing. We're like, well, these guys were young. They're putting it all out there, and Bruce Campbell wasn't doing any getting any stunt doubles. He did it all himself, kind of like what we're doing on Slaughter Day.
And you got guys fighting and moving trucks. Like, was there any injuries while you're filming the movie?
I was the one in the back of that pickup truck fighting our villain John Jones. We weren't roped in. There was nothing, no tethers on us.
And I'm hanging on the back of the truck with a big pole and my big heavy VHS camera stuck to it about 6 feet out. And I'm hanging out of the truck to kind of bring the camera inside as these moving shots are going. And we had to do this. We only had a little short road that we could go on to get this one shot. And we must have went up and down, back and forth on the road a couple hundred times just to get that action sequence. There was injuries. Blake's neck got injured from simulating punches and getting hit and whiplash on the back of his neck. And then we put our friends in some really precarious spots, having them hang off 30, 40 foot drop offs. And if they failed, they wouldn't be here.
How did it all come about that, were you guys always trying to get this released at some point? Like, how did it come about now that, you guys are getting it out?
Well, it's interesting because, 31 years ago, we're like, how do we distribute this? We don't know anybody in Hollywood. And the only people we could show it to is our classmates in school and our parents and whatever, just a small little group of people. We found this outfit called bmovie.com. This is right when the internet was starting to get up there. And, it kind of went really nowhere, I think, due to the fact that there wasn't this demand and this genre still hasn't become vintage yet. See, that's what I think's interesting, is that this movie has become vintage and almost like an antique in its own way. So, Wild Eye walked into this dark smoke-lit cigarette-filled room in New York City in an apartment, and in the background there's this VHS movie playing called Slaughter Day, and Rob's like, what is this? And apparently the guy that had the VHS copy said he's been holding on to this tape for 20 years and he's been waiting to give it to somebody that would distribute it properly. So it's just really interesting how this movie saw the light of day. We pretty much gave up on it. We had no intention of this ever going anywhere at that point. We kind of just went into our own careers and didn't think anything of it. And then we got a call from Rob from Wild Eyed, said that he'd want to possibly distribute our film. Little did we know that they would create this crazy Blu-ray DVD package, poster art, incredible artwork, and it's just really an amazing thing.
The year is 1991, and after creating several shorts, two brothers from Hawaii have decided to take their consumer equipment and make a full-length feature. And the end product will be a rarely seen super obscurity of the shot-on-video era, and arguably the most insane and ambitious micro-budget horror action movie ever made. So for today's unboxing, we are going to be having a look inside of Visual Vengeance's new Blu-ray release of Slaughter Day.
If we're ever to make Slaughter Day and reboot it again, the challenge would be to find somebody dedicated enough to take as much risk as we did as far as the stunts. But then I don't know if we could get away with making a movie like this unless you had a really, really high insurance policy.
So piggybacking on that last point that you just mentioned, it's been 30 years since of Slaughter Day. Are you guys ever cross your mind to what you just mentioned, to reboot? And I will call this because I again, when I finished the film, I was like, wow, this does actually feel like a cult classic, being the fact that it's over most 30 years. But would you guys go back and sit down and just reboot Slaughter Day for, if anybody gives you a bigger budget or a studio gives you the chance?
That's a great question. It's exciting times actually, because the technology's come so far. We fine-tuned, we've been filmmaking ever since, so we haven't stopped our skill set. And some of the ideas that we have, the way, if we were to reboot Slaughter Day with the proper budget, it'd be mind blowing even to ourselves of what it looked like, because we wouldn't go into the CGI like a lot of these horror movies are into now. And this practical effect is really, I think, going to make a comeback. And that's one thing that we like to specialize with Slaughter Day, is that impact of a boom, a separation, and the explosion of the separation of the delimbing or the beheading seen in real time. And I think that's what we'd want to touch upon.
If any producer wants to ever jump on board, we give them a big bang for their buck. We could give them this kind of film for this kind of budget. So anybody, like, it's been 30 years. I think we grew up in Hawaii, kind of the wrong place to make film, even though it's a great place to shoot. It's just we never had anywhere to market our film. So yeah, if there was any, I know we'd probably produce it ourselves, but I think it'd be great to bring in a bigger corporation just to give it that right amount, that finishing touch, to let us kind of hands-free and let us do what we need to do to make Slaughter Day, in some way reboot it.
And we've been getting some calls in discussion to possibly reboot Slaughter Day with the budget. So, hey, you never know. We could become the Blood Brothers again and get into this craziness.
But you have to give the Cousin Brothers an A for ambition here. When Slaughter Day works, it's highly impressive and entertaining. Slaughter Day also features some crazy action sequences, one of which involves two characters slugging it out in the bed of a pickup truck. A moving pickup truck. Granted, the truck isn't moving very fast, but it's still moving, and it looks pretty dangerous.
One of the construction workers has like this really mean spin kick. It was excellently done, and like he didn't look like he was getting tired of kicking anyone over it.
Yeah, he kept doing that spin kick, and we're like, well, he keeps doing it, and he keeps like knocking people out. It's like, well, let's have him do a spin kick, and Blake's gonna catch it, and then he's gonna break his leg right at that. It's like none of that spin kick shit anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
like it only worked so far. Like Daniel-san from the Karate Kid, he could only do the crane kick once. And he kept doing it. It's like, nope, not this time. And then we did this prosthetic.
It's kind of a real-time shot, too. We had that prosthetic leg where his other leg was hidden, and he just grabbed it. And I forgot what we had in there, still the bone. But yeah, it gave that perfect crunch. We love breaking bones. And
I loved it. That definitely made me wince. It was very, very effective. And
and then he actually twisted his ankle and his leg back into shape in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once you're possessed by the mask, you're pretty much a superhero. You're unstoppable.
There's parts of fight scenes here where you'll be watching the camera and they'll get on the ground and then they'll like move over and like they'll catch it like a stunt or a special effect in there too, and it's just really fun. Like I really enjoyed it. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's not gonna win any like technical achievements, but it's definitely do it yourself in the best kind of fun way. And it fails sometimes, obviously, like I said, the sound quality and stuff. But in other times, I caught myself saying, "Wow, oh shit," especially when they use like squibs and explosions and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun, and I would really recommend this to SOV enthusiasts or do-it-yourself enthusiasts. I think it's really cool.
I thought it was pretty fun. There's some moments in the movie that obviously they're rough around the edges. There is a shit ton of fighting in this movie where the brothers are back and forth like fighting like all these evil guys, and I swear to God they take more punches than a T-Rex could take. And apparently they actually hurt their neck permanently in life that they're still dealing with today from making the punches look so real, and they're whiplashing themselves. But they do a lot of stunts in this movie, and some of them they actually got hurt. Stuff that you really shouldn't do, like falling off the back of a trailer or a truck and, climbing around on trucks on a hill on a overside of a cliff. Like, there is just some stuff in there that I was just like, wow, these guys really went for it,
Just as an example, some of the more impressive practical effects. There's one scene where a guy is buried up to the neck in the dirt next to another guy whose head is buried in the dirt. So it looks like a body with a severed head next to it that is still talking. There's another scene where a guy seems like he gets folded in half and pulled into a hole in the floor where they obviously actually used a hole that was already in this rundown cabin that was probably about to fall over. So in that regard, it's like a very impressive movie. And also you can tell that these guys had a lot of fun shooting the movie. They're really hamming it up. One thing I noticed, it probably took these guys a while to shoot the movie. And during that time, obviously 2 of the actors got haircuts. But they don't just brush past this or use a wig. They actually use that in the story.
Okay, congratulations, you made a real crowd pleaser. So you should just know that. And how many days did you spend shooting it?
Yeah, during the weekends, I was a lifeguard at the Mauna Kea Beach Hotel, and I worked there for about 2 to 3 years, and only had weekends off. So during the weekends, we'd call up our friends, and we'd, probably had about 3-4 hours a day to shoot on Saturday and Sunday. So it's pretty much 2 days every weekend for pretty much a year of filming this thing. That's why you kind of see the hair growth, and Blake actually had to get a job too, and you see that part where he's got his hair pulled out because he needed a haircut. It wasn't going to fly with the long
And then
hair.
they ripped my hair off. Then I had to get a job.
They're more about being creative than it is about being perfect or having some sort of skill in acting or anything like that. It's more about just going out there and getting it done and just, seeing what you can get away with. It is above average because there is some really cool, like, Evil Dead-ish kind of fucking stuff that's happening in this movie that I really liked. One in particular where you see in the trailer where the guy gets folded in half and then slumps down into the Necronomicon book, which is super cool. Like, they really thought out, and you can see it in some of the short films that they did beforehand, that they were trying to do, like, chopping up people and putting them through the floor, or burying them up to their legs and chopping off their legs and pulling apart their bodies. I mean, they really put some effort into this. And, there is a couple of negative things I could say about this. And it sounds like they've got 2 soundtracks running at the same time. And I think that could be because there is a rights issue. And I didn't really get to find out why that was, or if it was, because this is the only version I've ever seen.
It's interesting, the mixed tracks.
Yeah.
What's up with the mixed tracks? When we sent this, this massive beta deck to Rob to master it digitally from our VHS archives, there was 2 tracks. One was a mixed track where you got the music that we had prior, which was copywritten, but it got shuffled around. I don't think anybody notices. And then we had our master music track with audio mastered, but it seemed in the middle of the recording, it went with the mix track. So you're kind of getting a mix of both. There was a solid track where you don't hear me saying go. And back in the day, I used to shout out go because I didn't feel I was enough of a filmmaker to quite say action just yet. So I'm like saying go. But now we say action. I stepped it up. But yeah. We do have the mono track where, it's pretty solid. It's a pretty good solid track. We had Joe Sterling and Kevin Peterson, some musician friend of ours, watch the film, and they'd play the guitar and the other guys on the synthesizer, and we'd orchestrate them as they're watching it. We're like, pick it up. Okay, slow it down, and then go. And they just like be impulsive and then watching it in real time. It's an interesting track. Maybe one day we'll get another re-release with the master audio, and maybe we could even find a possibly better copy. I don't know. There's some people that say we recently found that the original VHS might be in somebody's possession. So we'll see.
Who said that?
Is that okay, Rob?
Are we in trouble?
It's just
Matt's
me?
got
It's just me who has it?
There's 12 out there.
That's what I hear. Dude, thank you guys so much for doing this. This is so amazing. Honestly, I love this movie. It means so much to me. And now it means so much to all of these people. All right, let's go hang out.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you bringing us to the table. We'll see everybody. Rob. Visual vengeance.